Hello there, and welcome to Primal Carnage Evolution, a game that should have came out during 2025. It is now 2026, and the only reason it was not released was due to some critical bugs that the developers said, which, yeah, no fun. So, I'm going to be doing a showcase of the game. The reason I'm able to play it is because PlayStation, or Sony, did an accidental release with this game. So I bought it right when right when I got on the day it came out. They took it down, and you can get a refund. I won't be getting a refund because I don't know how long I'm gonna have to wait until the actual game comes out. But this is Primal Carnage Evolution. So this is what everyone's been waiting for a console, because nobody, or well, everyone's been waiting for this, basically. This is basically PC, but like with some own features that are exclusive to console, because this is for console, obviously. And yeah, there's a bunch of new things and whatnot. And one of the new things for the console version is the shop, which is this. Unfortunately, since I am playing a bugged version that was not technically supposed to be released, I can't get any of the said things here. So everything in the shop is just not purchasable. But yeah, it's here. It exists. But yeah, this is the game so far, and I will be doing a showcase. So let's look at the cosmetics. So we got our dinosaurs, we got our humans. There's also the inventory, which shows basically just everything. And then you can also just go to the shop from here as well. But I guess let's just start with the humans, because they did not give a lot of new things to the humans. So it is the basic 5 humans: Trapper, Pyro, Commando, Scientist, and the Pathfinder. Some of them were given new weapons, being the Pyro, I believe the Commando, and the Scientist got some new weapons. And also the Trapper. Sorry, forgot about the Trapper. But yeah, there are now... The Trapper has submachine guns, which is pretty cool. No new secondary weapons, unfortunately. It says the Trapper can use a pistol, but it does not show anything, so yeah. And we do have Zap Trap, which is a new thing that the Trapper can have. Basically just an electric shocking landmine. And you got taunts and stuff as well. They changed a lot of things with this game. So for the Pyro, they gave him... Well, you got your basic chainsaw. This is weird. The game's bugging out. Okay. Those are sprays. We'll get into those in a minute. So here we have the flamethrower chainsaw, basic starting weapon. And then we have the flame saw. This thing is a weird... I guess it's like an assault rifle that can fire explosive fire grenades. I will do a showcase of that later. No new secondary weapons, just the pistol and a flare gun, with all the basic things. Apparently, there's an explosive grenade. I don't know if I said that right. I'm pretty sure this is just a skin, but is it a skin? No, it's not. It's not. This is a this is a new explosive, but I'm pretty sure it just acts like any other grenade. It just looks different than others, but I don't know. Then we got the Commando. The Commando got a new weapon, being the burst rifle. This bad boy is a burst rifle. I don't know what else to expect. It also has a knife on the tip of it, which is pretty cool. I don't actually think it has like a secondary type of fire, like what with the basic gun has, where you can shoot a little grenade launcher. Unfortunately, it is just a burst rifle for now until the actual full game comes out. It might do something, but yeah, right now he just gets a burst rifle. No new secondary weapons. You get his basic support weapons, and that's about it. Now we have the Scientist. The Scientist has things. We got the sniper rifle, but now we have a heavy sniper rifle, which is just a higher damaging sniper rifle, I guess. We also have the poison dart rifle, which I think was in Primal Carnage Extinction, but I'm not 100% sure if it was, but it's pretty cool. Here it is. And then we have the compound bow, which is a pretty unique weapon in itself. You have two different ammo types, normal arrows and I think fire arrows or something like that, which is pretty crazy. No new secondary weapons. We have the sensor grenade, we have a gas mine, and we have speed greed energy drinks, which is pretty cool. Pathfinder did not get any new weapons. He has simply got his good old pump shotgun, a spaz shotgun, as well as the double barrel. There is also this classic shotgun, but I think that's just a skin. But yeah, that is basically it for the humans. They didn't do much for them for this game, and it's mostly just like 4 classes that got new weapons, and that's about it. But yeah, but let's move on to the dinosaurs, because that's the whole point of this game, and that's why everyone wants this game, is because it's dinosaurs, because, you know, that's the whole point. So I guess we'll start off with the raptor. Here's the raptor. The one new thing you can see in the bottom right is that you can change the eyes and skin of the dinosaur. So you can change what this skin looks like. So I have a seagull raptor skin equipped. I can change like the colors. And here's a better look at it if you want to get a better look. But there's a colorizer and whatnot. You got a bunch of things. You can show all of this. It's pretty crazy. And would you look at that? That is really buggy. I don't think that's supposed to happen. There we go. So you got your taunts, you got your cosmetics. You get this head camera, which I think is a brand new cosmetic. And I think only the Novoraptor can have this. And you got a bunch of things. But the new thing with the dinosaurs is model mutations, which changes the way the dinosaur actually looks like. So there are a bunch of different ways. Sometimes it doesn't change much, but it does say with this one it has a sloppy skull shape. To be honest, I cannot really tell. Another new thing are sprays. There are sprays. Here are some sprays. There are actually more sprays in the game than just these. It's just random when I like click on it with different dinosaurs. But here we have the Oviraptor, good old Oviraptor. Nothing crazy about this guy. We got a bunch of awesome skins. We also have this one, which is really cool. I did not notice I had this one. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on here. Got your good old taunts. The way taunts work in this game, I believe, is as long as you have a specific taunt equipped, you press L1 to do said taunt in-game, which I will do eventually. But yeah, this is the Oviraptor. Only a couple of things. Some mutations is this and whatnot. Pteranodon. I don't know what to say when it comes to Pteranodon there isn't really much with the old dinosaurs, other than the fact that I can show things like this being their different genetic forms, I guess, which is the robust pterodon, making it more robust, I guess. We have the tupa. The tupa has something I will show when I get some gameplay features. But yeah, this is the tupa. He's got a model mutation. Bro's out here with the big chin. Look at him. Big chin. Here's the normal one. And then there's big chin mode. Pretty crazy. Then we have the Dilophosaur and the Cryosaur. They also work differently now in this game, which is pretty crazy. Robust Dillo. Bro is looking robust. Look at him. And then we have the Cryo. That is the T-Rex. I don't know how it switched to there. But yeah, here we have the Cryo. He has this mutation. Interesting. Then we have the Carno, because, you know, like the Carno. Before, in the extinction version of the game, Carno could not jump. This guy can jump now. It's not a big jump, but he can jump. And it's something, I guess. And we got a bunch of skins and whatnot. Like the Alpha Carno, Frog, Dart, Blood Longhorn, Avalanche, Winter Rush. Just a bunch of stuff. Yes, a bunch of stuff. Because who doesn't like skins in video games? You got a bunch of stuff. Secondary cosmetics. There are no model mutations for the Carno, unfortunately, in this version of Evolution, which is a little annoying. But here we have the Tyrants, the big boys. We have the Acro. I don't know what to say about the Acro, other than the fact that we have a model mutation. And this is the model mutation, as well as a bunch of other skins and whatnot. It's got some crazy looking skins like this one. Then we got the Spino. I'm excited about the Spino, because they have a Royal Spino skin, which you can check in the shop, which makes it look more like what a Spino would actually have looked like in real life, with a more paddle tail-like tail, I guess, and whatnot. I wish I could show it, but unfortunately there are only two, and one of them is not the Royal Spinosaurus. We have this one, which makes him a little more spiky with his sail, and then we have this derpy-looking bastard, who has more of a, I guess, a raptor kind of head. I don't know, but this is just goofy looking, to be honest. Like, this is, you looking at that, it's a goofy looking Spino right there. And we got the good old T-Rex. Yeah, T-Rex. Who doesn't like the T-Rex, you know? We have a bunch of models for the T-Rex. Models being genetic mutation models or whatever. We have the serrated one, which gives it a more, well, you know, modified to enhance the dorsal armor plating, creating a spiked appearance. And here it is. Pretty cool, I guess. But then we got some goofy ones. We got this one, because this is what it looks like. Yeah, we got bro over here with the big ass chin. Bro looks a little derpy. He looks very derpy, actually. We also have this one. This guy is just full-on spike mode. Like, spike everywhere, bro. Bro's trying to be really edgy, bro. Then we have this one. This one's probably my favorite. Basically gives him a larger drooping dewlap, which is kind of like, if you can see right underneath his chin area or his neck area, he has that little flappy area right there. You see him shaking it up. It looks pretty cool. Now then, the one big thing that is good about this game, and holy crap, the acro was loud when you pass them. Here we go. The two new dinosaurs. We have the Pachy and we have the Ceratosaur. Or the Cerato, if you want to call it that. But this is the Cerato. The Cerato can also jump. It has I think it jumps a little higher than the Carno, but yeah, here's the Ceratosaurus. This is now something that exists for console players to use. You know, new dinosaur experience for the console players. It's incredible. We got a bunch of skins. I am using the Volcano one because, you know, Volcano. Go boom. I just like the way it looks. You got a bunch of things. Bunch of emotes and stuff. As well as cosmetics. Unfortunately, there are no cosmetics or secondary cosmetics. We have a genetic mutation which gives it a more curving forwards to its horns. And then this is just what the default one looks like. Which is pretty cool indeed. Then we have the Pachy, the one herbivore they added to this game that you can play as. Of course, there are technically 3 other herbivores you can play as, but we will get into that later. But here is the Pachy. We are using the Alpha Pachy skin. The Pachy doesn't have a lot of skins, unlike all the other dinosaurs, but this is the Pachy. He can jump pretty high. Out of the Carno and Cerato, he has the lowest amount of health, being 800. And he does actually have a model mutation, which makes him even more spikier, because, you know, who doesn't like spikes? But yeah, this is the good old Pachy, you know? Pachy, with his giant dome head as he runs into you and breaks your ribs. But yeah, those are the dinosaurs. And we'll do a better showcase playing in a server. So, actually, just to show, there are people playing this game. Some people probably didn't get refunds. It is taking 20 years to load, and then no one is playing right now. But we can host a game. There's team deathmatch. We got survival, free roam, get to the chopper, capture the egg, hybrid, and yeah, those are the game modes right now. There are new maps for like free roam and stuff, as well as deathmatch, being the Redwoods, which is actually a community map. If you see it down in the bottom right below the picture, it is a community map, which is pretty cool. We have the Valley, and then we've got like classic things. There are also new maps, being this one, I think. This is a new map, which I guess is a Primal Carnage community map, which is pretty cool. We got the containment. We have this one, Dead Tide. This is a new map as well, with the community making it, or help making it as well. We got this one. Apparently it's another community map, which is pretty crazy. We have the docks, because, you know, remember that? With the Dilophosaurus Club. It's the Dilophosaurus Club. It's crazy. There's nighttime docks. We have the Forest Chasm. And then we have nighttime version and the snow version of it. We have the Forgotten Outpost. We have the Marsh. We have Snowbound. We have the Falls. We have the Transfer Nighttime. We have the Unity Base Night, and Unity Base Snow. We have the Verdant map. Then we have the Get to the Chopper Docks, which is something you can play in free roam now. We have another Get to the Chopper map being the Downpour, another Get to the Chopper map being Ruthless, both normal and snow. We have the Get to the Chopper Falls map, and we have the Get to the Chopper Phantom Cave, which is a new map. This is a new map as well. I don't actually know if Get to the Chopper has any exclusive maps for the game mode. It does not seem to be, but yeah. And we have Capture the Egg, some pretty basic maps, as well as Hybrid. No new maps. In Primal Carnage Extinction on console, they did have a map where it was a giant dome with 4 little seasonal variants. There was a desert, a snow biome, a jungle biome, and like a normal valley forest biome. And that was a map that had a little secret where if you brought a scientist up to the top of the map, there was a little panel you can interact with, and a door would open. And there was like this big old gravity chamber, if anyone remembers any of that from Primal Carnage Extinction. But yeah, so let's get into a solo game. There is also survival. They got some maps. I believe some of them are. I believe this one is new. Though I'm not 100% sure on that, but we have free roam. And also a new thing for free roam is that there are cheats, which I will be showing as well. So we will be playing on the valley, because there is something I want to show that is only accessible on the valley. Okay. Loading screens are the same as they were in Extinction. Here it is, the valley. Good old valley. Remember that. We have the dinosaurs. Now, let's get in here. Play as the Spinosaur. So, there's a bunch of new things on screen. Little information thing that pops up telling us about what the Spino can do, and what it said being the claw swipe. And we have Ita, because, you know, obviously it's supposed to be Eat, but we're playing a version that wasn't supposed to be. We're playing the game when it's not supposed to technically be out. Another thing is you can see the little marker I have right here, with like the little teeth and a little dot in the middle. This is something new for the dinosaurs, which is probably really helpful for Tyrants, because I don't know if anyone experienced this in the old in the old Primal Carnage, where certain Tyrants were kind of annoying to play because it was so hard just to get like an R2 off. And it was especially hard when you played as the Acro. And I'm assuming it had something to do with the hitbox, but I'll say having this little marker here is really useful. But yeah, there's also new body corpses. This looks like we got a mosasaur. How did a mosasaur get here in this big ass lake that's just here? I don't know. But there are new corpses, which is pretty cool. And yeah, here's the valley. The valley was a map in Primal Carnage Extinction for console. The water here used to be extremely shallow, and you could just walk through it. Originally, the only dinosaur that could actually swim in the old Primal Carnage, being Primal Carnage Extinction, was the Dilophosaur and the Cryosaur, but it was kind of buggy looking, and the Dillo and the Cryo would like glitch out. But now, it is deep enough for Tyrants to swim through, so now we can see something like a Spino swim in it. Seems right now the game wants to actually function, but most of the time you'll be seeing stuff like this. Yeah, like it's a little buggy. I'm not entirely swimming, to be honest. I'm kind of like slightly floating above the water, but yeah, every dino now is able to swim. This seems like the deepest part where it actually looks like I'm swimming. But yeah, all the dinosaurs can now swim, and that is a pretty cool feature. We also have the roars. Roaring will now show you this. If you're playing as a smaller dinosaur like a raptor, and a teammate of yours who is playing as a Rex or a Spino gives a buff like that, so the Spino has a roar buff that gives a defense bonus to all dinosaurs in close proximity to said Spino. The game will tell you that you got buffed by it. And another thing, near the bottom left, we got the little HP bar with the little Spino symbol, and we also have stamina. Stamina is a new thing, I believe, for Primal Carnage Evolution. In Primal Carnage Extinction, on console version at least, stamina was not a thing. You could run as long as you wanted. You could run as long as you wanted, but now there is stamina. So running will take up stamina. There are ways to recover stamina. Creatures that are able to crouch, not being the Spinosaur, obviously, but if you crouch, you can regain stamina a bit faster. And if there's any water source nearby, you can actually drink from said water source. Unfortunately, it does not seem to be letting me drink it, but yes, you can drink from water. Another thing for free roam, we have cheats. Cheats, summon, and passive mode. Passive mode, when on, you will see a little bit above the claw swipe symbol. You will see what is probably just meant to be a halo. In passive mode, you cannot take any damage, and you can basically sprint forever. And yeah, basically, if you don't want to be fighting in free roam all the time, and you just want to be chill and whatnot, you can just go around and do this. We have cheats. There are a bunch of cheats. I can't use any of them because they don't do anything for me. But most of these cheats I've actually seen in free roams. Some of these cheats, being God mode, which is the only one I have, it actually tells me. Unfortunately, God mode is just passive mode. So, yeah. There is a bunch of other cheats. I don't know what they are, but I do know what some of them are, actually, because apparently there are cheats which let you change the size of your dinosaur. So you could be a Tyrant that's as tall as these damn trees, or you can be a Tyrant that's as small as a raptor, which is pretty cool and funny to see. Now, we have summons. The only thing I can do is throwables, but you can summon the Dinosaur AI. Dinosaur AI is the thing that you can only do in the survival mode, where you play as the humans and do a bunch of waves of dinosaurs and you have to defend and whatnot. Yeah, you can summon those. Unfortunately, I can only summon throwables, and these are the throwables you can throw down. You can throw down the health kit. There's the health kit. You can throw down an ammo kit. These are the things that the commando has. And then we have dynamite and a Molotov cocktail, which I probably say that wrong, but, you know, you can throw these. Here I am, burning like a mofo. And now I'm all, you know, burnt up. Look at me, I'm burnt like a damn turkey. Burnt like a damn turkey. Yeah, that makes sense. And then there's also dynamite. Yep. That just happened. Now there is what looks to be a massive crack on the ground. And now it's gone. But yeah, there's a bunch of new things. And those, unfortunately, I wish I could show you what all of these things are. But unfortunately, they do nothing. And the only one that shows is God mode. And God mode is just passive mode. Which is sad, unfortunately. But yeah. Now then, there are some new things. Go ahead and change our class. I get a close-up on our dead Spinosaur here. Sandbox has 4 exclusive dinosaurs that you can play as. First one being the Compy. I'll let you know right now, the roar abilities that these exclusive Sandbox dinosaurs have right now in the version that I'm playing on, their roar abilities don't really do anything from what I've experienced so far, but yeah. So here is the Compy. We have the Compy. We can see all these new things. And one thing I should have mentioned a while ago, but there is a vital status, which shows how much health the dinosaur has, how much stamina, and where it takes normal damage, where it takes reduced damage if it has armored areas on its body, and critical damage. So things like getting a headshot or whatnot. Which you could tell from the little image as the red part where the Compy's head is on the right side of the screen is a critical zone, meaning the Compy will take more damage to the head. And this is the case with other creatures. With the Packy, you can see his head is armored. The Ceratosaurus's arms and entire head section are armored. The Carno's front part of his head is armored. His back tail is armored, but the bottom part of his jaw and whatnot is not armored, which is kind of weird. But here's one of the Sandbox exclusive dinosaurs, the Compy. Here he is. He got his little bite attack, he got his secondary attack, and he got his roar ability. Then we have the Parasaur, this goofy little bastard right here. Though he's not really goofy, is he? Or is he? I don't know. So, this is the Parasaur. Here he is with his 2 attacks and his roar ability. The roar ability for the Compy, the Parasaur, and the other 2 I'm about to show, they all say the same thing, roar refresh. Unfortunately, it's probably because they're not fully finished, but you can still technically play as them. But yeah, as you can see, bro has a lot of health, 2,400. It's pretty crazy. Next is the Stegosaurus. Look at this big-ass bastard. Which is pretty crazy. His whole tail side is basically armored from what it shows, which is pretty cool. He got all of his attacks and whatnot. And then we have the Iguanodon, the thumb-stabbing dinosaur, which is pretty crazy. First, we'll start with the Compy. I'm pretty sure there was like ways to cheat play as a Compy on the PC version of the game, but here's the Compy. Here is the roar. It does not seem to do much, unfortunately. The Compy is very, very weak. This bastard has 50 HP. You will get one shot by anything, basically. But yeah, also, the one thing that these roar buffs do is if I use up some stamina and then roar, it does replenish my stamina, but I think that's about all that it does for the Compy, at least. But yeah, this is the Compy. He's a little fella. He can fit through little areas that a lot of creatures can't get to, and he's probably a new creature that if you play free roam on the docks, bro can go in the Dillo Club if he wants to, because he's a special guest in the Dillo Club. Because, you know, why not? Because why wouldn't he be? But yeah, this is the Compy. There is not much. He has his bite, and then his L2, which says chirp. It is a tiny little jump. I would like to note that the actual jump is a lot higher than this shitty jump. This little chirp does absolutely nothing. You're just doing this tiny little hop while making a little noise. And that's it. I don't know what else to say other than that's it, because this is the Compy. Probably the weakest creature that you can play as in Sandbox. I don't know. This is it. This is the compy. This is it. This is what you're looking at. You're looking at this little bastard who is extremely weak. And there he goes. Now he's dead. All right, let's move on to the next exclusive Sandbox creature. It does say you can customize these guys. Unfortunately, even though there is a skin for said compy, it's better to actually show this if I do it right here. Here we go. So things like the Parasaur, it thinks I'm using the scientist uniform. But yeah, here are actual skins. Obviously, a lot of these aren't finished at all, and some of them are buggy, which is why things like these Parasaur skins have like these random ass things. As you can see, economic.4001.description type stuff. But the compy does have skins. You got your basic compy. You got a cold stream compy. We have a dry grass compy. Unfortunately, it is not showing the dry grass compy or the desert feather compy. But the compy does have a feathered variant, which is really cool, to be honest. But yeah, then we have our basic Parasaur. We have 2 other Parasaur skins. I wish I could equip them, and even though I do equip them, it doesn't actually equip it, unfortunately. But there is the Iguanodon. The Iguanodon only has 1 other skin besides his default skin, being the wild one. Having like a bunch of wild Iguanodon skins here for some reason. There's also the Stegosaur. We have the Stegosaur female. This is just the basic default skin, I'm pretty sure. But we also have a Stegosaurus male skin, which gives him more reddish plates, which is pretty cool. His red dorsal plates are bold red. Then we have this one, the Aburn Stego. Looks pretty cool. And then we got this Stego, which is probably my favorite looking one. And I wish I could use it, but I can't because it doesn't work, which is very sad because I wish these would work. Unfortunately, they do not. And none of them there are no taunts. It shows cosmetics. Unfortunately, none of these actually work. There is apparently 2 mutations for these exclusive Sandbox creatures. The Stegosaur has a juvenile version, apparently. And then there is one for the Iguanodon. Unfortunately, it does not show it with a little picture, which is a little upsetting. But yeah, here's all the ones that are available in this version. Looks like they went ahead and gave you 4 versions for the Rex and barely gave you anything for a lot of the others. But yeah, unfortunately, there is not much for the skins and stuff for the Sandbox exclusive dinosaurs. But here's the Parasaur. Now, the game says I can roar to regenerate the health of nearby dinosaurs. I don't think it actually works, but when you do roar, you get that little symbol right there. That is the Ceratosaur icon, and the Ceratosaur's roar ability is a stamina steal, so a bite will take away stamina from said human and then replenish your stamina. I don't know. I think it's just showing that, but I don't think it's actually what the Parasaur can do, unfortunately. But here we have the Parasaur. Look at this little bastard. Look at this goofy little run. Gotta admit, this is a goofy looking run. Parasaur can't jump, unfortunately. It does look like he could jump, but he cannot jump, unfortunately. But this is the Parasaur. Here he is in all his might. We've seen the corpse of him, and now he's playable in Sandbox, or Free Roam, or whatever. But here he is. We have the bite. This is not a bite. This looks more like a head swipe. You can also tell it's quite glitchy, because once the animation for the bite finishes, it does that. I don't know if you can notice, but bro, like, goes back to a normal stance. It's weird. Then we have a tail swipe. That one isn't buggy, which is pretty cool. And yeah, that's kind of all that there is for the Parasaur. There isn't really much to show for these guys, but, you know, why not show them? I guess I could show you the swimming animation. Bro looks desperate. He's trying so hard. He's trying so hard to swim. But yeah, that is the Parasaur. Oh, another thing I should probably say, when you're playing this game, if you press triangle, you can change your camera angle. So you can have more of a closer look. You can have it so that you're looking from different sides. It looks a little weird with the herbivores. But, yeah. And then we got the roar, which I've already shown, but there he is. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. So, that's the Parasaur. Oh, look at the poor thing. He's so bloody and dead. How unfortunate. Yeah, so this is also another thing. Since this is a, not a full version, actual game release, this just happens with these dinosaurs. It's trying to put the iguanodon skin on the stego and the parasaur. It does not look good, but let's play as the stegosaurus. Here it is. I am not a Ceratosaurus game. I am a stegosaurus. But yeah, here's the stegosaurus. Out of the 3 new herbivores that you can play as in Sandbox, Stegosaurus is probably the one that needs the most work done to it. And I'll explain why in a minute, but here we have the Stegosaurus. You see his run animation, we got a bunch of things. We have a stomp. Yeah, that's the stomp. This stomp, as well as the tail swipe, do not do any damage to human enemies. Unfortunately. But here's the tail swipe. You swing your tail to the left. When you want to swing your tail to the right, you swing it to the left, because they haven't done that yet. They haven't made it so that it can also do it to the right when you're looking at the right. Yeah, so Stego's a little bit, broken, I guess. Still playable, though, I guess. It's just, you can't really kill anything with the Stegosaurus, unfortunately. And here's the Stegosaurus's roar. It shows the Carno's little buff thing right there, if you can see it, above the tail swipe. The Carno's is a health, like a little vampiric health boost, so hitting things with the Carno would heal you. Yeah, the Stegosaurus, although I really like the Stegosaurus, he is buggy when it comes to his attacks. His attacks, bro is looking a little goofy, and the tail swipe only goes in one direction, being the left side, unfortunately. Which is the Stego. Which is Stego! So that was the Stegosaurus, and now we move on to the Iguanodon, who now has the textures of the Stegosaurus. Because, you know, why not? And bro's out here looking a little weird. You can kind of see the eye texture right there. Little weird, but yeah. Here we have the Iguanodon. I cannot steal stamina as an Iguanodon with his roar. Also, if you look at the bottom right, his roar thing is this, has the model of the Stegosaurus for some reason. I don't really know why, but yeah, it does. But here is the Iguanodon. You see him running around, bro's running on his 2 feet. Look at him go. Look at him go. Goddamn. Look at this boy go. Yeah, we have the Iguanodon. So, for some reason, the symbols for the attacks, head toss shows the thumb spike symbol for some reason, and the thumb slash has the head toss symbol, which looks like the Stegosaur again for some reason. But this is the Iguanodon. Let's take a look at the head toss. Yep. That's a head toss, all right. Look at him go. Look at him go. Then we have the stabby thumb thumbs. A 2-hit attack, which looks pretty crazy. Probably very devastating. This thing's probably painful. Very painful. I don't know how much damage this would do, but another new thing in this game is that there are actually damage numbers that show up when attacking a human enemy. And if a human is attacking a dinosaur enemy, it will show you the amount of damage you're doing. With little damage numbers. Or, I guess, floating damage text, I guess, is what it's called. But, yeah. Alright, let's check out this bad boy's roar. It's a pretty short roar, but it ain't bad. It's giving me the Carno's little symbol there for some reason, even though I'm pretty sure none of that works. You do this while walking. You cannot thumb slash while running, but you can do the head toss. And I'm spamming L2. Okay, there we go. Sometimes it can be a bit buggy. Sometimes, like with the Parasaur, if I roared as the Parasaur and I tried doing the supposed bite, it wouldn't actually let me bite. So there are a bunch of problems, obviously, with these herbivores. They aren't fully complete, I'm pretty sure. But, you know, here they are. I'm playing as them anyways. But, yeah, this is the Iguanodon, which is pretty freaking cool. So there isn't really much to say. I guess we'll switch real quick. First things first, let's check out what's new for some of the creatures. So, first things first, take a Dillo. Here we are. We're playing as a Dilophosaur. Also, there's a little tip right there that it's telling you. So, if you see a dinosaur that is on fire, a Dilophosaur can use their venom to spit on said dinosaur that is on fire to extinguish the flames. This is probably good to use against the medium-sized and the giant-sized carnivores. So the Carno, Cerato, and Pachy, as well as the Spino, Acro, and T-Rex, this is probably helpful for them. So you see a T-Rex that's running for its life while it's on fire, just give it an old spit on the Rex. Spit on that thing. That's a dead meme. We're living in the big 2026. Anyways, so they changed the way the spit works. If you can see in the bottom left, there's a little white line right there. When my stamina is below that white line, I can no longer use my spit. And I have to regenerate said stamina until I can use my spit again. But spit works different. Originally in Extinction, Primal Carnage Extinction, the spit was a single projectile that fired straight where you were aiming. Kind of like how the bullet work for the humans. But now, let's say if I spit on this rock, I spat on it. Pretty basic. But if I want to spit right there, it's a little more like a lobbing type attack. Also, if you notice, when I press the button, you kind of see that little red line coming. Sorry. But yes, the Dillo and the Cryo now have the ability to charge up their spit. In doing so, their neck starts to overflow and gain fat as they are dripping out their fluid of acid. And this now becomes a lobbing attack. So, boom. Boom, it hits on the ground. Here it is. And eventually, you just give it a second. Okay, never mind. It's with the Cryo, sorry. If you play as the Cryo and you do a charge spit, eventually it will do like a little detonation, I think, which is kind of cool. It's just to separate, I guess, the way the Dilophosaurus spit is from the Cryo spit. But yeah, now our boy here just... But you can also cancel it, I guess, if you're looking backwards. But yeah, this is the spit. He is looking a little sick. I think he has rabies. There's a big, like, splat right there. Goddamn. You can also see he's got a little bit of it. Oh, it's gone. But he does have a little bit of, like, that poisonous stuff coming out of his mouth when he drools. Look at him. He's squeaking. So, go ahead. We change classes again. So, one thing you can do the one thing you can do with this bad boy, the Tupa. Tupa. Look at this bastard. So, the Tupa originally was just a creature. Yes, it's showing what you can do. Yes, you can dive bomb as this thing. Originally, the only thing you could do was just peck. You couldn't, like, grab people like what the Pteranodon could do. But this bastard can dive bomb. Because originally, this guy was basically just acted like a Carno, where you would literally just ram into people by flying as fast as you could into them, and it would do damage. But yeah, now you can do a dive bomb. Unfortunately, the way the dive bomb works is a little weird. So if you're up high, let's say you're up really high. Here I am at max height for this map. I dive bomb from here. It cancels the dive bomb because I'm too high up. I need to be at a specific height in order to dive bomb. So probably right around here. Oh wait, too high. Right around this type of height. What the fuck? There you go, right there. That is the dive bomb. The thing with the dive bomb is that once you dive bomb, you're kind of vulnerable for a little bit, and you have to, like, run for your damn life and escape when you do it. But the dive bomb is powerful. Obviously, it's like an AoE attack, so if you are directly on a person, it'll probably do, like, around 100 damage, but, like, if you hit them from, like, the side, it'll probably do, like, around 50 damage. But yeah, the Tupa is able to dive bomb people, which is honestly really crazy because a lot of people will just huddle up in a group. You see a huddled up group of people, bro. There you go. Boom. Get some big damage off with that. Also, another new thing with the flyers is if you look in the bottom right, it's telling me to press square. If I press square, I immediately stop flying and I start falling. I don't know what the use of it's for, but I guess if someone's shooting you out of the air and they're doing really good, you can just fall. Like, just do a quick fall. Which is pretty crazy. And, yeah. Um, this is Primal Carnage Evolution. This is it. There's a bunch of new features, as well as new dinosaurs exclusive to Sandbox. But yeah, there's not much left to say other than, well, that's it. This is Primal Carnage Evolution right now. It's still buggy and whatnot, and it's not the actual version of it because PlayStation messed up by accident. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all later.